All right, so here we have a 2011 Hyundai Tucson. What we're going to be doing today is an AC compressor kit, which will include the AC compressor, the receiver dryer that is in the condenser, and also the expansion valve that goes back in the expansion valve block that goes back to the evaporator core. So what we're going to do first is we will take the belt off. All right, to access the belt and the belt tensioner, we're going to go ahead and remove this cover. So we have three 10mm bolts holding it on. All right, so here we have our 17mm on our tensioner pulley. So when we pull it, it'll loosen it. We'll go ahead and get the belt off. Alright, so we just kind of put our belt out of the way. Alright, so now we'll work on taking the compressor off. Alright, so here we have the compressor. We'll go ahead and do the electrical connector first. We'll go ahead and remove our lines. So these are 12mm bolts here. All right, so we have four 12mm bolts that mount the compressor. So we'll go ahead and remove the top ones first. Okay, so you can see one dowel stayed in and the other one came out. So that was what caused us a little bit of, to get that off, we had to keep rocking it. All right, so here we have our new AC compressor that we got from Auto Parts Direct U, part of the AC kit. We're just going around and making sure that everything is good. So there are some things that we're going to have to transfer over. One's going to be, our dowel pins didn't come out, or it doesn't come with new dowel pins. And then the other one, we have two roll pins here. It doesn't look like the roll pins came either. The other one is normally these compressor kits come, they have a sticker across them. They tell you they already have oil. We don't see that on this one, so we're going to have to check and make sure, till we can put the proper amount of oil in the compressor. All right, so the first thing we need to do is remove our dowel pin. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and remove these caps here. I have a number 6 Allen. All right, so what we need to do now is we need to see how much oil this is going to require. It does say on it. You'll notice it says this compressor contains 5.0 ounces of PEG 46. All right, so it does have oil in it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use these little caps just to keep the oil from pouring out as I put the compressor in. What we're going to do first before we go ahead and put this in is we need to put our dowel pin in the block so we can line it up, and then we're going to replace the O-rings that fit on the lines before we get the compressor up there. Okay, so this was so hard to come out. Before I put it in, I'm just going to try to deburr what I crushed with the pliers there, so it'll be a guide. It'll do what it's supposed to do. All right, and then we were also supplied with the kit some O-rings, so we'll go ahead and take the O-rings off the lines and match them up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set our dowel in. Just kind of matching the height of the other one. All right, that sounded good. Okay, so here we have our O-rings we want to match up, put some new ones on there. All right, so I've matched up my O-ring. We'll go ahead and slip them on. The one thing we're going to have to do is oil these right before we put them on, so they seat nicely in the compressor. But we'll do that once we get the compressor in and all that stuff. That way we don't get dirt caught in the oil and all that good stuff. So we'll go ahead and put these off to the side as best we can. So I'm going to go ahead and add the top bolts to it prior to putting it in. All right, so now that we have our compressor, we'll go ahead and put our belt back on. All right, so now we're ready to put our fender cover back in here. All right, so part of the AC kit is also the expansion block. All right, so we're going to replace the expansion valve here, which is going to be located right at the firewall. So we'll go ahead and get that taken off now. So I have a 10 millimeter nut holding the cover on. Okay, 12 I think. All right, so we have a 12 millimeter bolt on the side, which does the line, the manifold line. All right, so now we have our old one off. Go ahead and get some O-rings matched up. All right, with all of our O-rings, we just want to use a little bit of lube on them. All right, so here we have underneath the front of the car, we have our condenser. Right here is where our accumulator, our receiver dryer is going to be located in the side here. So we have a 14 millimeter Allen bit. Come in here and undo it. All right, so what we were trying to do is replace this filter in the condenser, but for whatever reason, we cannot get the plug out of the bottom of the condenser. So that's like the filter of the system. So being that we put a new compressor in and all that, we're just going to go ahead and replace the condenser right now, because it could only be better scenarios. So like that's the heat exchanger for the efficiency of your AC system. So it won't hurt to do it. So we're just going to go ahead and do it now. So to get to the condenser, we're going to have to remove this top cover here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove all of our hold down clips. All right, so there's some 8 millimeter bolts. All right, so what we were just fighting through there is there's 4 little latching clips right holding that in. So we just reached through to grab them. Just a couple little tabs walking around the outside of that. Let's take that piece off. All right, so our push pins, we just want to push them in. We'll be replacing that. There you go, that one came out like it should. Our lines to bolt up to our condenser are down here. There's 2 10mm bolts down there. Okay, so there's just a little wind kind of to direct the wind. Go ahead and remove those. There's one on this side too, just got little clips at the top. They pull right up. Just a little clip. Looks like they're on both top and bottom, but I was able to do it. Okay, this one doesn't have the hook like this one does, so, and they are labeled. And the condenser is the same thing. There's those same little latches, but for the condenser. I'll go ahead and maybe not. Alright, so just be able to pull our... Don't you wish they were all like that? Alright, so here's what we've been trying to get out. This little plastic plug, our filter sits inside here, so I'm just going to try. We are getting a new one of these, but let's just see what we can do here. Nope. I just turned the socket inside the plastic. All right, so we're just waiting on our new one now. All right, so here we have our new condenser from Auto Parts Direct to You. So we're just kind of making sure that it's the same. We have all the same mounting points. Looks like we have to transfer over our studs there that hold our line on. So we'll go ahead and transfer that over now. So I just have the original nut. I'm going to put one on backwards. And then the other one on correctly. All right, so I'm just going to bind them together. I should be able to. Okay, so something else we want to check here. So there was the plug we couldn't get out. I just want to So we have a different style here. We have a metal plug on the new one. I'm going to go ahead and pop it off, and we want to see if we have fluid in there. We want to see if we have any lubricant for. Okay, so we do have our dryer in there, but it does look like there's no oil. So we'll go ahead and just pour a little bit of PAG oil in there. So I just want to put enough, really, just to the sock, that filter is going to pull some oil out of the system, so we want to kind of saturate it first. Alright, so now we're going to drop our condenser in. So we have our tabs, that's what we're going to be lining up. Alright. Okay, so now we want to change our O-rings. We got one there. And this line comes around. Those are our plugs that were in the condenser line, so nothing gets in there. Now we want to put our air deflectors in there. So they were labeled L and R, so we know which ones they were. So this is our left side. All right, so now I have this piece. For our air inlet going to our air box. I'm going to see if I got some new. All right, so we had our cover here. Now I want to put our top cover on. We got to put our bolts back in and our clips. So first we'll get our clips lined up. We'll go ahead and take our service caps off, hook up our gauges. We need to pull a vacuum on the system to remove all the moisture. Spend about 30 minutes doing that. That'll also let us know if we have any leaks in the system before we put Freon in it. So we'll go ahead and get everything set up now. All right, so we have videos on how to do this kind of stuff. There'll be some links that'll get you there. But we go through a full evacuation and all that. So if you really wanted to see how this stuff works, there's more detail there.